Just persistence, painting every day, meeting people, staying committed to being in the art and loving painting. And persistence, I would guess, is the best answer to that. Never giving up, never being able to do anything else, loving painting, having as many, having shows a lot. I've chosen what has struck me in the world from an early age, from earliest childhood. I have memories of Luna moths, and my grandfather sent me cocoons of great moths, and I'd come home from school and see a giant cecropia moth flying around in my room. So these were in my memory, and I've had experiences living and caring for all of them or viewing all of them. And I'm especially blessed to have lived in Hawaii as a child and Nicaragua and as an exchange student during my time in high school. So I was exposed to very exotic species, and they just excited me to no end. I just can't say how thrilled I am to see these living creatures and their shapes and color and forms endlessly inspiring. And that's what's happened in my life. Well, I was very interested in Mary Todd Lincoln originally, who I was impressed with. She had channelers and psychics. They did seances at the White House when he was in office. And she was a shopaholic, and she redecorated the White House, which was in great disrepair when they entered. She said in one statement, in one movie I saw, they were giving her a lot of grief about her spending, and she said, "Sir, when I came to this house, there were mushrooms sprouting from the walls." Anyway, she had very good taste, and she did a great job. She was sort of like the first Jackie O, but very unappreciated in her day because she was such a strong-willed woman. But it turns out that Lincoln was the one that did all of this. He had belonged to no organized religion. There's only 2 presidents that did not. And he went to mediums and people that predicted the future almost every day, as did a lot of Congress at that time, which was kept kind of a national secret. So he was just, a hugely important president, probably one of the greatest we've ever had. And he did so many things to make the country a better place to live in. I'm impressed with him spiritually and as a person and as a president, and I pay tribute to him often. And he just keeps popping into my life's work and my life in ways. I find pictures of him endlessly, and through channeler of mine, he told me to paint, which I'm painting right now, doves, and I call them Abraham's peace plan. So that was a huge influence on me, huge addition to my life and work. It entailed loaning work to American embassies for at least a year or 2. And my work was taken to Latvia, where they did a wonderful show with all the artists, and there was a catalog printed. Later, I had a show at the Rothko Museum, which is in Latvia. That was where he was from, in the museum there. And I was in Malaysia, and very interesting places. I can't remember all of them. Turkey had work of mine. I think they even acquired some. So it's a wonderful program. I'm all for it. And I was a very good and enriching experience. I have had shows in museums in Kazakhstan and Siberia, St. Petersburg, Moscow, Haiti, museum shows, that is. Most recently Latvia and the Rothko Museum, and in Lithuania, and dozens of other places I can't remember. But I've always gotten a lot out of foreign travel, and some of the museums in the Ukraine, I had 2 National Gallery shows there, one in Odessa and one in Kiev. And their collections were just extraordinary, and the buildings were old homes that were like palaces, and it was such a wonderful venue for my work. And there was a woman in the Ukraine who spoke so beautifully about my work. In St. Petersburg, they just exuded joy. They were joyous about seeing what I did. I don't always get that reaction here. I've always loved to travel. I've had shows in India, Japan, and Montreal, Mexico, all over the place. And I just love, since I was a child, we traveled a lot, and I always get a new thing from all of these experiences, and especially colors come through for me. Each experience, anyway, it's just a wonderfully enriching thing, and I've always been curious about the rest of the world, and this has been a great way for me to do it.